Day 87. I'm sitting here in the park. It's quite peaceful. Drinking Pepsi. Eating Snickers.
That's
Looks
a
like
big
it's
Snickers
peace.
bar.
And there's so many people in the West and in the world who still believe that there's no war in Ukraine. Can you imagine this? They still believe there is no war. There is war, even though it's peaceful around. There's a big war going on. In the east of Ukraine, there's lots of shelling, artillery. We hear air raid sirens every day, many times. There is war in Ukraine. It will continue for months. Even though Biden signed $40 billion help to Ukraine, even though there's lend-lease, even though there's more and more heavy weapons, but there's war, and it will continue for a long, long time. We are ready for that.
Yeah, there you go. There's Alex Day-Rebeckoff, who starts off the program today. We like to call it the Alex Day-Rebeckoff Show. Welcome. My name is Dean. That is Lachlan Cross. That is Alex, who was in the park with a Pepsi and a Snickers the other day, by the way. It looked incredibly peaceful where you were. And I'm like, oh, my God. The guy even worked a couple of props into that video. Here I am with a Pepsi and a Snickers, by the way. And that was a large fucking Snickers. We don't have the big Snickers when we live here.
No,
so I was super jealous.
You can't get those. I'm going to have a talk with my Costco rep. Get those in.
Come over. Come over.
Oh, we will, dude. And we were talking about it earlier. Welcome. That is Alex Day-Rebeckoff. He is live in Cherkasy, Ukraine. He's been there. It is now day 91 or day 90, 91, depending on where you live, of the war in Ukraine. Alex has been there for all of it. Of course, one of our very dear friends, and he joins us as he does every single Monday or Tuesday, depending on the schedule. And he's back again. But I do want to start with that Snickers. Where the fuck do you get a double-sided Snickers? Like, that's the question. Is it just in Ukraine? And can you send some to us?
Thought about it. I thought it was everywhere.
No.
I can. I'm sure.
The thing is, if I'm in a store, and there is a selection of chocolate bars, and there's a Snickers that's the size of my arm, I'm getting that. Like, you're not getting why even start selling small ones? Like, we get the little 4 inchers here. Like, no, I want the Snickers the size of my arm. So it was that. I don't know why that was so funny to me. He holds up the Pepsi and then holds up this foot-long Snickers.
That one actually consists of 3 smaller ones.
You get 3 fucking Snickers in there?
Yes.
I love Ukraine.
You guys are not messing around, eh?
No. Like, it's the greatest candy bar on the planet, and they got 3 of them in one package. So if you're not afraid of them, you should be by now, by the way, after day 91 of Russians getting their dicks handed to them day after day after day. And on top of it, they got more Snickers than they know what to do with, and they've been hiding them from us.
That's too funny.
I was actually...
We lost him.
Did we lose him?
Sorry.
Oh, there he is.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
I was sitting in the park eating the Snickers, and I was like, well, it feels good. Snickers is a good thing. Pepsi is a good thing. But it was just like a little relaxation from all the hell that we experience every day. Just the spring is very good. The weather is good. People are walking. And I just wanted to show the world what I feel. And by the way, there's a couple of days before that, I got a message on Twitter from somebody who said, there's no war in Ukraine. There's no war. The people don't believe there is a war.
Yeah,
was that the impetus? Yeah, was that the impetus for the video? Was you saying, hey, listen, I might be having a Pepsi and a 12-mile long Snickers bar, but like, guys, this is still going on. I mean, the stories that we're seeing come out of Ukraine too. I mean, is that how do you feel when you get, like, you're living it, you're going through it? Sure, you're in the park having a snack and you're getting a minute's reprieve from the death and the destruction, and taking pictures for the international criminal courts and posting them on your Facebook, which we're going to get to. We'll show people. But like when you hear from people that this isn't real, right? Not only is it real, but it's getting more real in the East, is it not?
Right. Well, and the fact that I'm eating Snickers doesn't change anything. It doesn't change. I have the right to eat the Snickers. Normal lives, we have the right to work. We actually have to work our normal, do our normal job. But the war is still going on, and it will continue.
I think a great way of sort of positioning this, I think, would be if you're in the middle of something at home, right? Like if you're in the middle of whatever it might be, maybe your wife or your husband's really, really sick, you still have to go into work. Or you had a big fight with your significant other, or something's going on with your kid, or that anxiety, that stress that we live with when we're going through shit in our personal lives. You have to suck it up. You have to go into work, and you have to do your job. You have to continue to make money. We have to continue to live our lives. Alex and Ukrainians in that entire country are having to do that every day, but it's different. They're being bombed by another country, right? So that's something that I've thought a lot about since we've met you, Alex, about that day-to-day stress that you guys must deal with, even if you're removed somewhat from the war. I saw a video that you released today, day 90, 3 months in, and you commented that the war is still happening, that you have friends that friends and family that were in one of the occupied areas, and Russian boots just sort of took it over, and you were thankful that those friends and family got out of there in time. But that's just stuff we're not even able to comprehend, right? Like we talk about this every time we have you on, Alex. Every single time Dean and I, or whoever's on with us, has the same realization. Oh shit, I'm yelling at the drive-through guy because he always makes coffee when I pull up, and I got to sit there for 5 or 6 minutes while a fresh pot. This morning I flipped out on him, and then I drive away. I'm going, you're such an asshole. Who cares, right? Yeah. Who cares if this dick doesn't put coffee on until you drive up and ask for a cup, right? Like that's what I'm dealing with. And I'm also stressing out because I've been filling the dumpster at work with my garbage, and I did a bunch of spring cleaning, and at some point they're going to catch me and I'm going to get in shit from the office building. I had the Subaru, Alex. The Subaru was full.
That's what he's dealing with. Imagine the horror of being anxious that your boss might catch you dumping garbage in the company bin. I mean, Jesus, or not having coffee made up. I mean, and it underscores the greater point. And obviously Lachlan's joking around trying to prove how minuscule our issues are. But to that point, talk about your day 90 video, because and how it relates to what's going on in the West, because Russian bombardment of occupied territory, in the East, Russian bombardment has never been worse. I mean, we'll show a video coming up of the road in and out of the East, which you put on your Twitter feed. But talk about that a little bit, because your family, actually, your wife's family, was from that region, correct?
Yeah, exactly. That is my in-laws are from the city called Svitlodarsk, which has been in the war zone, well, on the front line for the past 8 years. So when we first visited them 2 years ago, we actually experienced what it is like to be in a war. For me, it was the first time ever in my life I heard air defense working like this. Boo, boo. I saw destroyed buildings. We went to see the trenches, and it was an experience for me. But now a lot more Ukrainians have experienced that and felt the war like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this Alex is someone who I can't remember. You said a volunteer sent you this video, and so we were kind of watching it. Could you describe what we're seeing here, because this is fucking intense?
Well, this is a video that was widely spread in publics on social media, but this is the road that is the only road to help the city called Severodonetsk, which is now the hottest place of the war after Mariupol. As we know, Mariupol fell. But this is the only road that connects this city to the other country. And the guy I talked to, volunteer, actually goes on this road every other day,
taking supplies in and out.
Yeah. There's around 10,000 people who are still staying in this city. 10,000 people who didn't evacuate.
Severodonetsk is the name of the town, and this is in the east. And the video that you shared with us, which we're sharing with people, which we're all watching together now, is like you can see the explosions. This is an active war zone where they're just indiscriminate. Like they beat the shit out of that field real good. Those Russian mines. I mean, but I mean, this is you can see the explosions off in the distance, and it's not one or two. There are dozens of them. And for people that watch your video of you eating a Snickers in the park several hundred miles away from this is the reality that hundreds of thousands of your brothers and sisters in Ukraine are dealing with on a daily basis. The constant bombardment of indiscriminate shelling, carpet bombs. You could see it. They're trying to take out this telephone pole here. They're just firing right into the side of the hill. And the only way that you can get any supplies into the east, into this contested area, is via this road. And so like when we drive to work here, to Lachlan's point of us not understanding, we don't have to deal with bombs. We don't have to deal with people shooting at us in our way to work. We don't have to deal with artillery shells indiscriminately falling on our heads. And I find it fascinating because so much of the country is living in seemingly this peaceful existence now that all the shelling and the fact that Ukrainian forces had pushed so severely out of Kyiv and Kharkiv. You've got an entire area that Vladimir Putin is literally throwing the kitchen sink at, and has been doing that, as you pointed out, by and large in that region for 8 years. Like, this is something that you've seen before, but haven't had a taste of in a peaceful time in your country, where you said you went to visit your in-laws and you finally got a chance to see what war looked like up close. And it is 10 times that area now, right? Like the war is still raging where you are, Alex.
Yeah. Well, and again, I hear stories of my people who I know injured. Like one of the battalions, it's a volunteer battalions. So they are not regular army. Those are volunteers who went to fight. There's about 120 people. I'm actually talking about another one, but this one is also, I helped the Special Forces Police Department from Cherkasy, and they helped to clean my hometown Irpin. And yesterday, or the day before yesterday, 4 of them were killed and 5 injured. They were like a unit of 15 people, 15, 30-year-old guys with families, kids. 4 of them are dead now. And but another one is that this battalion, volunteer battalion, that I also we helped with the money. By the way, the money that you guys also sent to us, we bought for them the raincoats, because in spring it was expected there would be rains. Perfect. And several days ago I heard they were under shelling. 2 of them are dead, and 4, including the commander, who was my direct contact, are wounded.
Close to home.
Sorry?
Close to home.
Yeah.
You know, and, I mean, just the stuff that you're dealing with, and it touches so many different people. Like, you know, you're in what's seemingly a peaceful part of that area, but there's so many people from that area that go out to those very, you know, the war-torn parts of Ukraine to be able to deliver food, and those strikes are still happening, right? Like, you know, we're seeing good things come out of Kyiv, Irpin, Bucha, but I mean, in no way is it safe to be in those areas still. I mean, at least that's the feeling that I'm getting from what I'm seeing, Alex.
Well, in fact, Bucha Irpin probably a lot safer now, because Putler has obviously understood that there's no way they can get it. But people are actually massively going back. From what I hear, there is so many people in Irpin now. People walk in the parks. More and more shops are being opened. Banks are being opened. So, like, and we are thinking about returning every other day. We're just waiting for the fuel to. We still don't have fuel. We don't have gas, even for $2 per liter, which is the price that some people get to gas somewhere. $2 per liter. That would be what, $5 per gallon?
Yeah, it's what we pay here, right? We pay $2, but we're not a war-torn country.
I would buy it if I could just go and get it. I would buy it. There's no fuel. There's no gas. There's lines, and people stay there for 5-6 hours to get fuel for $5-6 per gallon.
You know what's interesting, Alex, is like we're getting bits and pieces of, and it's still, just so you know, Ukraine, the war, this conflict with Russia, this illegal conflict with Russia, this illegal occupation is still getting a tremendous amount of coverage in Canada and the United States. It's still at the top of the newsreel. And that's every day. You can't watch news for more than 5-10 minutes on any channel without some mention of it. So it's not something that we're forgetting about here. We're still selling that Fuck Putler shirt, and we're trying to raise more money for you. I'm hoping by the end of the summer, we'll be able to maybe come up with another shirt idea and send you another chunk of change, which you can use on your end to help your citizens, the people that are still in Ukraine right now fighting back. The thing with it that I've been doing, anytime I watch anything or any kind of news about it, is we're piecing together this narrative. We're piecing together this idea of what you guys are going through bit by bit. And obviously we're never going to be able to fully appreciate what you're going through, but what they are doing is they're presenting a lot of stories about groups that are going to Ukraine, and the news is focused on soldiers, retired, and I'd say at least once or twice a week, Dean can probably back this up, there'll be like an expose, a quick little vignette on a guy that, you know, was from the UK or from the United States or from Canada that trained in one area or another, and he's over there. And the thing that I found interesting, and you kind of touched on it on your socials this week, is that there's these groups that are being put together, these battalions, and they're cherry picking these people from around the world and sort of slipping them into these Ukraine led forces, and they're like becoming these like family and friends and comrades, and they're heading off into these sort of areas that to fight these battles. And is that something that you've like, it's just on your radar now, that's been a strategy of Ukraine, the government, and how they've been fighting this war against Russia?
Well, honestly, I haven't heard about this, and you're the first person. Oh, well, that could be an interesting. That is an interesting thought. Well, what I know is one of the volunteers of my volunteer team who helped me from the first days of the war, who actually helped a lot the bomb shelters, people in Kyiv. He went to the army several weeks ago. He goes to artillery, and he's now on a training. And he sent to me a photo. They are not supposed to, to publicly display it, but he sent to me privately as a friend. And I can see a classroom with a flip chart, and a presentation with some English, English titles of the artillery. I was like, "Oh, are you being taught by foreign instructors?" He's like, "No, those are Ukrainians who were taught in the West, and now they got their training of trainers somewhere, and then they're back here training others." I haven't heard of any foreigners like participating in battalions, but this is what it leads me to.
Have you heard of any Canadians fucking anything up for you guys there yet? Yes or no?
Getting drunk.
Getting drunk. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like, and that was one of the things. Alex, you sent me this fucking great video of a Russian soldier. I mean, and I did some reading. This is happening kind of everywhere around Russia, where these Russian soldiers are A, poorly trained, B, scared to death because they're idiots, and C, drunk all the time because of it, right? So, like, this is a video that Alex sent us yesterday of a Russian soldier sleeping wasted in a garbage can. Like, wasted. Where was this? And is this endemic? Like, I mean, look at this fucking guy. He's so hammered. And here's the thing. I did a little research into his underwear. He's actually wearing diapers. So just in case he shits or pisses himself, he's planned for that. But like this is a problem there as well. I'm joking around about the Canadian guys, right? But I mean, you know, the Russian soldiers are so poorly trained and so wasted a lot of the time that they're absolutely ineffectual. Like, that was a Ukrainian guy that was filming a Russian dude in his garbage can, correct?
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, look at this typical Russian soldier. He's just sleeping there. He's just sleeping after drinking a lot. He served, he relaxed. Now
have you watched that video of the kid that was in the tank brigade for Russia? He was captured. They took his phone, and some Ukrainians made a little 25-minute video out of his life, and it starts back home in his training, and then his kid, and then the war. That was the one thing that I noticed is Russians drink. Like, at least this kid and his friends, there was a lot of footage of them drinking. I know that I can't be a judge of that because
he's always drunk. Yeah. That might be him in someone's garbage can in a couple of weeks. You never know, right? Lachlan might be asleep.
I generally am pretty good at finding my way home.
Yeah, but there's always a chance because he's a sleeper. What happens is when Lachlan gets too wasted, he goes like this, puts his hands in his head, and he goes,
yeah. But good thing you're not coming to kill anyone.
No.
Stay.
Yeah, I think I would want to maybe put a little bit of put the brakes on my drinking for a bit if I'm fighting in a war. Just saying.
These guys have it.
Which leads me to another topic that might be interesting. 4 years ago, because we already were in the war, I just thought I wanted to find some information about Putin, about Putler, to understand who he is, his human psychology. I found an article about his childhood and where his parents came from. Long story short, do you know how his parents met? Putler's parents met?
Nope.
They were 17 years old. They lived in a shitty village of like 600 people. His father went. By the way, he only finished four years of a school program. 4 years of school, 4 grades of school. So he was illiterate. He came to meet this girl, who later turned out to be Putin's mother. She locked in her house, and she locked her gate. She didn't want him to enter. What he did, he took a pitchfork and pushed it through the gate, and she was standing on the other side of the gate. So he pushed it through, and the pitchfork got into her eye. So he basically gouged. What is the word? Gouged her eye out. Yeah. So that's how they met. The girl's mother said to him, "You either go to prison or you marry her.
Weird.
Yeah. So this is Russia. They are drunk. They are killers. They are murderers. They are rapers. They are like torturers. They came here to take this land and they are doing what they are used to be doing. The Putler's parents are like this.
Yeah, and I watched this thing on Vladimir Putin the other day. It was a special. They were talking about how dumb his parents were and how they lived in this really shitty area of St. Petersburg as he was growing up. And all Putin used to do, he had no friends, and he used to play with rats. He made the rats their friends, his friends, right? And that's how much of a douchebag he was. Even growing up, I mean, he didn't stand a chance because of where he came from. But that was the culture back then. And he grew up thinking, hey, you never corner a rat. That was one of the things I saw. But he is right now legitimately a cornered rat. Stories of his throat cancer and having to leave, like I read a report yesterday. I don't know if you read the same one. Throat cancer, Parkinson's, and he has to leave meetings like hourly to get treatment for both. And rumors of a coup. Can you talk about that a little bit? How, that is now in the works because he's out of options. He is legitimately dying according to every metric and defense professional, someone that knows and knows. I mean, are you hearing the same stories?
Yeah, absolutely. And well, we don't know whether they're right or wrong, but what we hear, I follow one of the Telegram channels that is supposedly founded by an ex-intelligence guy from Russia. Well, it sounds like the guy knows his stuff. So he actually said that last week, from Monday to Tuesday, last week, actually the day when we had our last discussion, our last talk, Putler went through a surgery. It was last week. He went through a surgery, and then for several days he stayed in rehabilitation. The surgery went well. While he was away, Patrushev, who is the second person after him in the hierarchy, he's the head of Security Council, ex-director of FSB. He headed the country. As to the coup, I heard from the key intelligence person in Ukraine, a good guy, but the intelligence guy who has the information that there are stocks among the financial wing of the Russian elite that they are losing money. They need to stop the war. So they are stocks, but they are still afraid to directly speak to Putler. So they're thinking about changing him.
Some guy stepped out today and denounced the war, and he is a lifelong politician,
Russian diplomat,
and he did it in Sweden.
Switzerland,
Davos,
Switzerland, yes. And he stepped up to a mic and said that it had to stop.
Bullshit. Yeah. And dude, like to that point, this is what Alex is talking about. Putin's leadership is unraveling. This is Business Insider, which is part of Forbes. Unraveling as he takes regular breaks for medical treatment, is constantly surrounded by doctors. This is just from a few hours ago. Putin undergo cancer treatment, power to be handed over temporarily to ex-KGB chiefs. That is happening as of right now. I mean, there's a lot of hope in his death, right? I mean, that's like the one thing that I think, it's an intangible. You can't control it as a country, but is the entire country, the entirety of Ukraine holding, crossing their fingers, arms and hands for a very painful death and a public exit for this guy? Gotta be.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of, I don't know if we can say it. We pray for it, Although we understand that it's not just about him. It's not just about him because, and we discussed that before, that the entire top, the officers of the army are now also war criminals, and the culture.
Yeah.
So it's not just about Putler.
No, it's not just about Putler, but it's fascinating because every part of what he's doing is falling apart, right? I know things are intense in Donbass. I know that. We're seeing it, and but I mean the the ground that you've made up has been incredible. And it's only like, you know, and I know there are rules when it comes to reporting in Ukraine for Ukrainian forces on Ukrainian forces. You can't like tell anybody where you are. You got to turn off your geolocation, all that stuff. There's real serious rules for Ukrainian reporters and allies reporting on behalf of what's going on in Ukraine. However, it's not the same for Russians. And I'd like to point it out. Can you tell me who this gentleman is? Because this stupid bastard got a whole bunch of people in a certain Russian brigade killed. And this was where it happened. But can you tell us? Because we've got the video here. Because Russians are so stupid that they're reporting from areas where they're actually bombarding people. And it seems to me, Alex, like Ukraine is going, okay, we'll just watch the news in Russia and then we'll just bomb wherever these fucking idiots are. Is that what's happening?
Oh yeah. This one is one of the most famous military bloggers, Alexander Kots, from Russia, naturally, and he shows up every time. He wanted to show up with this artillery. I don't even know what this is, the armored artillery vehicle, whatever. And then the Ukrainians found out the positions and shelled it.
Yeah. You want to see
that?
Is he
dead?
Sorry?
Is the reporter dead?
No.
Looks like it.
No.
This is literally a couple hours after that reporter filed a report on Russian television. Not even, and apparently the intel came from them watching the news, where they're like, "Oh yeah, this is where that idiot is. Let's bomb the fuck out of him," and they did. It is hilarious how the Ukrainian people. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
I get such a boner watching these videos. I don't know why. It's just so awesome. Alex and I send them back and forth on a daily basis. I'm like, hey, check this one out. Like the one thing that you and I really come together on is seeing Russian death and that little red light of like a rocket propelled grenade or a Stugna. Is that it? Stugna, which is a Ukrainian built and operated, like basically a javelin. Some of those videos are incredible too, and I want to play some of them for you because what you can see is the red light of death. And when I talk about the red light of death, what I mean is you literally see people dying in front of you. And I know you're going to go, "Oh, Dean, why?" But no, we've never seen this before. Like, watch this one. This is from Alex. Maybe you know where this is from.
Well, that was also widely spread in Ukrainian social media, but they are launching it now, and then they are directing it.
Yeah.
And he goes like, turn left, 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 left.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know how it works, but obviously you can really direct it. The operator was like left, 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 and then
Oh yeah. Dude, I mean, the what you guys are doing to these guys as they try to flee is like the funniest shit ever, because that's what you're seeing. It's like they don't even know it's coming. And did you see it just coming up the asshole of each one of these guys? Like this video here. By the way, I love that you put it to music, Alex. This tank is trying to flee, and it's been hit by some kind of RPG, and it's firing. And it only gets about yay far before someone just comes out with a javelin and says, "Fuck this. Watch this."
Wow.
Yeah.
I just love the music that you guys put behind these death videos.
Looks
too.
like
It's
somebody
so funny.
fell out of
They're
the
running.
Did you see the guy?
Yeah, trying to get
one.
out. Yeah, there's a guy on top right now trying to get out too.
I heard one expert talking about how Ukraine has changed, and I think we've mentioned it before, has changed the face of combat on the ground, and that you guys you may have destroyed any country ever using tanks again.
Yeah.
Because of how much damage the Ukraine army has done to the Russian tank. All the tanks, like you've just blown up hundreds of them.
No, thousands. Like 1,800 tanks have been destroyed. Yeah. Something like another 700 tanks have been captured and are being used by the Ukraine. Yeah. Like it is fucking crazy, and it's like that's all they have. It's almost like they sit back behind certain borders and they just fire shells into certain towns and hope it works, because every time they go anywhere, they get their asses handed to them. And it's that light, it's that red light of death that I can't fucking stop laughing at. Like every time I see it, I'm like, wait till it hits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Does that make me a bad person, by the way?
No, not really. I mean, we got a long list of other things that we can talk about later if you want, Dean.
That made me a terrible person. That's a good point.
That's down. It's down further on the list.
Yeah, I thought it was. But dude, like, it's so funny to watch these guys die. And I feel kind of bad about it, because it's like, you know, I'm a big proponent of human life, but these guys are literally doing the devil's work. And so watching them, sorry for the language, Alex, I don't mean to be rude, watching them suck the devil's dick as they die is like one of those things that's just too poetic for me to not enjoy, right? Like, that's literally how I feel watching these videos. I'm like, yeah, it's about fucking time. And again, little things like that excite me. Sorry, Alex, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No. Go ahead.
No, it's just little things like that that get me going. And I know, and I've never seen this before either, right? Like, check this one out. Tell me this isn't one of those videos where you're like, my God, don't fuck with Ukraine ever again after this. Again, set to some excellent rave music. And here comes the red light of death. They just let it go. Look at it. Look at it. And there's the tank in the distance. This explosion's gnarly too. Watch this.
Oh! Whoa! Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You know, it's
Sorry,
interesting, Alex. We've had numerous conversations here, because another part of the news that we're getting is about Western companies, right? McDonald's is closing down operations. Starbucks is leaving. KFC is leaving. So these Western staples, these Western companies that are figureheads of culture here in North America are making a point of saying, hey, listen, we're pulling out of Russia. We don't believe in this occupation as well. And we found out last week that McDonald's was still paying the Russian people. And I was like, no, don't do that. Don't pay them. Mm-hmm. And my co-host, who is, and I love him to death. He's a brother. I'm not meaning to, this is not me criticizing him, but he's a very sensitive person. And he says, no, you can't do that. It's not their fault. And I'm like, but the thing about this occupation that's different for me is, and you touched on it, real change in that country. And I understand that their lives are on the line, even if they protest or speak up, and their families' lives are on the line. That's why these Russian celebrities aren't saying anything. But I'm telling you right now, real change is not going to come until they rise up against what's happening in that country. And the more pain we can inflict on them, the better chance of changing that culture. And I mean, I felt bad for about that much when my buddy, my co-host, my close friend, my brother said, no, that's wrong. You can't do that. You can't not pay these people when you shut down their business, their only way of life. And I'm like, you have to. Starbucks announced they're pulling out everything from Russia.
Yeah,
and
dude, you're watching the cranes like literally take the McDonald's signs off the thing. Like, I mean, it's happening right now. Alex, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. You're probably going to respond.
No, you're completely right. I agree with you, and every Ukrainian will agree with you. We first thought, okay, well, it's not about regular Russians. It's about Putler and his, gangsters. But now we all understand that it is about every Russian. And what you said, Lachlan, about this movie, this is a typical Russian. Russian. They drink. They don't care about anything. They don't read books. They don't care about anything else. And even though, okay, an employee of McDonald's could be, a sophisticated person, westernized and all, they have to feel this pain. the whole country have to feel the social disturbance and then raise. All of them have to raise. Only then the changes will come.
Yeah, and to that point, Locke, like, I mean, this is why I don't feel sorry for individual Russian soldiers when they get like a Stugna jammed up their ass.
That's why
is this guy, and this is from Alex's Facebook site, where he's literally combing through some of the worst. You can join him here, Russian Genocide in Ukraine. It is a public group, and if you it's in this actual description of the podcast, so you can go and check it out there as well, and you can join the group. But like, Alex, to his credit, has been going around documenting the war crimes of these innocent Russians who are forced to do this, to the point where this tank commander was sentenced to life in prison for shooting a 62-year-old Ukrainian civilian with a machine gun. Alex, this is like, and there are, my understanding, 7,000 Russian people in custody, Russian soldiers in custody, committed, like that are going to go up on trial and be sentenced like he was for war crimes against human beings. So when we see that red light of death, or we see these explosions, and someone goes, but these are human beings. These are human beings that took great joy in killing 62-year-olds by shooting them in the back with machine guns, Alex, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I started documenting such things. Those are open sources, intelligence. And this specific case, this 21-year-old kid, who is a commander, tank commander.
Kid,
if you hear what he says, he's like, I was told to shoot and I shot. It's just, I repeat, he said, I was told to shoot, I was ordered to shoot and I shot. Absolutely brainless barbarian. I was told to shoot at a civilian. They were going by a car in a village, and they saw a civilian talking on the phone, 62-year-old man, and he was ordered. This guy was ordered to shoot, and he shot with his machine gun.
And he's not the only one.
And he's not the only one. There's so many cases of this that they. Yeah, I documented. I personally know still. Those cases that are open and public, I collect on this Facebook page. But I also have many cases that are not public. They are confidential. And I cooperate with international lawyers. We have done 70 interviews with witnesses and victims of those war crimes. And very often it's like it's something that you cannot imagine. Rapes, murders, tortures, unimaginable tortures. A guy, one of the guys was actually 22-year-old guy, was taken, was captured. He was taken to a sauna where 10 Russian soldiers were sitting and drinking like hell. They were drinking vodka, and they tortured him in this sauna. So when we are laughing at them being hit by those red things, we have the right to laugh at that.
Yeah, and to enjoy it, and to sit in it and know that that's retribution. Those are natural consequences for Putler and every single person that's been snowed by him. Say what you like about disinformation, say what you like about that Iron Curtain over information, but these people know better. As human beings, you know better than to raise a gun at an innocent person and start firing at them as they're on the telephone. As someone who's just standing there talking on the phone, you know better. You know better than to torture a human being. As a human being, you know better. It is in everybody. And the conditioning is one thing, the way of life is another. But as Alex has pointed out, every time that you see death, and it is death that is being visited on the enemy, it is a fucking soul-bouncing thing. For every single person that's been living in that country that's had to undergo this. Like, Alex, 90 days now. You've been at this 90 days. You've been out of your house for 90 days. You've watched dozens of friends and family members not just get evacuated from areas, but die. get shot as they tried to flee. People, neighbors, friends, people that you would wave hi to in the morning on your way to work in a more peaceful time. So no one can tell you or anybody in that country what they should or shouldn't enjoy when they see something like this. That's my opinion.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I blocked that dick that was questioning whether it was even happening, Alex, on the Twitter. And I also reported him. So
yeah, and he lost his account.
There's no, I don't have any time for that. Like, it's just, and there's no sense trying to convince these people. It's interesting though, that the culture conversation is an interesting one. And not that we need to pop the top on that today, but I mean, we have a situation in Canada where we're, our basement dwellers, the United States, have a thing with guns, and it's bizarre. They have multiple mass shootings every day, like almost daily in a country that's just fascinated with guns. And you know what? No one has any answers. I hope that what we're put as a international community, what we're putting Russia through right now, will have some impact on the culture, because you gotta look at like, you have to look at this from a humanity perspective, and
that's the only lens you can look at this through. Like, that's all I see. All I see here is the human perspective, right? It's not a military perspective. That's part of it. It's not, a dictatorial perspective. That's for sure part of it. Everybody looks for different red herrings they can grab in situations like this that they can bring close to their narrative, and then, take out to the world and say, this is what's really happening. I said it when we were just talking about how these soldiers were abusing and raping Ukrainian men and women at will over the past 3 months, is that they know, right? Every single human knows you shouldn't hurt another human being.
They have to know.
Like, every single human being knows you shouldn't shoot someone else in the head who's talking on the telephone or trying to get out of their country or trying to, get out of harm's way. Except that's the difference here, right? The difference is that, we can actually say that with great certainty, is that the human perspective here is the most important thing. It's not about territory. It's about what's been happening to these people and what is being visited on these people in their fucking homes, in their bedrooms, in their community centers, in their hockey rinks, on their soccer pitches. The nightmare that is being delivered on people in Ukraine by a dictator is fucking human at its very essence, which is like, when I see people arguing about other things, and this is why, Alex, we don't talk about the politics of any of this. We talk about the hope and death of Russian soldiers in Putli. We talk about, the Ukrainian people's self-governance. We talk about the human parts that you're dealing with. I mean, that's why we started this whole thing off with you eating a Snickers the size of my leg, is because that was a moment's peace for you, right? And to look at this through any other geopolitical, military lens or, foreign policies is the dumbest parsing according to your own narrative, and everybody's into it. Dude, even in Canada, we've got these guys. The Line Canada. This is made by this company, or this group is called The Line Canada. These are anti-vaxxers who fucking hate human beings. Right? They live for God and Jesus, and they're super into Christian orthodoxy. So super easy. We know what Christian orthodoxy is, and we know that Putin stands up for it, even though that's a fucking red herring. He's lying about the whole thing. Bottom line is that even Canada has groups of people, as we are so super supportive. Canada groups of people that are telling you that the death and destruction you're seeing of human beings isn't fucking real, and it not only isn't real, it's your fault. Right? Like, I mean, these are people, no matter where they're from, no matter what they believe, these are people that don't like human beings and are afraid of the truth because it touches something that they hold to be dear, which is all bullshit, right? We know that. We know it when we see it. And I apologize because that was something that came into our feed that you and I had to deal with this last week. And I wanted to tell you who it was. This guy named Chris Sky, who looks like a horse. Legitimately looks like a horse. He's got a rap sheet, meaning he's been arrested for everything from heroin possession to beating dogs for the last 10 to 15 years. So I need you to not worry about people like him. I got him. Don't worry about him. I'll take care of him in my due time. But I want to apologize because I know that was something that came out of this country and I was embarrassed by it. But just know that all those people embarrass us on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, thank you for this understanding. And I totally agree that this is about humans. And as we discussed, Butler is not a human. You know, a man whose parents were met when his father shot pulled his mother's eye. His father, who was so illiterate that he could not even communicate with his own son. And that's why Butler's real father was his judo, this jiu-jitsu coach, who came out of a prison, a criminal. His father, his real father, who taught him manners, was a criminal. This is a criminal country that is not human.
Yeah.
And they came here with no human feelings. And we are human, and we will kick their asses.
And I love watching it. Alex Dayrebekoff, follow him at Dayrebekoff on Twitter. You can have a look at him there. He's in the actual. You can check his tag out in the description as well. Listen, keep sending those death videos. I'll keep sending you mine, and let's still talk.
Great little pastime.
You know, we love you. Yeah, it is. It's like a hobby I have now. It's like he and I are both on Ukrainian weapons tracker all the time.
This one went right up that guy's ass.
Dude, there's that massive explosion Alex sent me, and he's like, I thought you'd laugh at this. I'm like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So let's enjoy it together. Alex, you go be with your family. Thanks so much for doing this. And as always, Slava Ukraine, my friend.
Heroyam Slava. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you, Lachlan. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, everyone who watched us. And it has been so inspirational, like every time. It helps me to feel better. Thank you for this.
You want to pay us back? I want you to go clean out the store you got those Snickers at, please, and send them over here. It'd be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll chat with you soon, my friend.
Snickers.
Yeah. We'll talk to you soon. There's Alex Dayrebekoff. He's live in Cherkasy, Ukraine. And Alex is gone, and that means Ryan is here. Did you see Alex? You see how happy you look? Dude looks like Hugh Jackman from fucking Wolverine, by the way. Never looked more dangerous.
Those chops.
I told him, I said, do me a favor. Chew your arm off, see if it grows back. And he was like, what? I don't think he quite knew what I was talking about. I love that, man. I truly do. I look forward to our weekly interviews with Alex, and I hope I actually do mean this. I hope at some point we get to meet him.
Here's the thing. You know what we're going to do?
I think we got to do it.
I think we got to take WOW Air, that low-cost, very reputable airline. Wow. And 14 different connectors that you'll be forced to take if you take WOW Air. And we go over there and we land in Kyiv one day and we're like, hey, Alex, we're here. Come pick us up at the airport. He lives, his house is like, he'll be in his house in a matter of days. He lives just outside of where the airport is. And I say the three of us go over there and I get right back into the booze. Right back into it.
Really? Okay, listen.
Over in the EU, it's different. It's fine. It doesn't count. You're fine.
Right. As long as because I appreciate you for what you've accomplished, Dean.
Thank you.
In the sobriety thing, and I realize how much work it took you to get there. I want you to make the right decision.
I'll get hosed. I'll get wasted.
Okay, all right. And if we do, then
Cheers
we
to
come
that.
back and you get back into your routine of being.
There's no routine. I just don't
hard
drink.
on the vape.
But I would
18 hours a day.
I gotta have something. It's this fucking weird thing I have. When I quit doing everything, I'm like, I gotta do something bad. So I vape. Literally, if I don't do something sort of bad for myself, I feel like a loser. Nah, you gotta do something. Like when I quit drinking, I started smoking cigarettes at 44, like a fucking idiot, because I was like, no, I got to be somewhat badass to myself a little bit, and it's got to be something. So I took that, and now I'm easy on myself with the vaping. Does that not make more sense, Linz? Like, I mean, he's laughing at me, but like this idea that I do everything right, I can't deal with that. Oh, there's no way.
We were
not a chance. Laughing. That's not a way to live. Then you're
not me.
No,
we were
that's not Dean Blundell
at Army Chris because he is hard on the smokes, and I've never said to him, and he drinks heavy, and he would be the first one to admit it. And I've never been that guy that I'll show up at his house and go, hey, just a little
not a problem.
Time. Have you thought about maybe taking a break from the book? Like, I'm not going to be that guy. I have enough demons in my closet. We don't need to start pulling out mine and comparing, right? But he will bring up occasionally that he's aware that the smoking is an issue, right? Not only that, he smokes we call them res cigarettes here in Alberta. I don't know if that's a derogatory
unregulated smokes from the native reservation.
I don't know much where cheaper. He gets them, but
we have them here too.
He gets like a case, like a box of them for like $30, and he's hard on those. Now I'm pretty sure those aren't made to code. I'm thinking that.
Well, I'm gonna suggest that the code that the other cigarettes are made under is not a great code either.
No,
I mean, anytime you've got permission from the government to put fiberglass in smokes, probably a bad code.
Let me stop you just for a sec, Locke. I learned something about this actually because we've got a res here as well.
Yeah.
And there isn't as many impurities and preservatives in the reservation cigarettes as there is in commercially
way better
packed.
for you. Way
Believe
healthier
it or not,
smokes.
The cancer won't get you that quick with the res smokes.
Okay, I was wrong. He just talks about how much harsher they are.
Yeah.
Like they burn way quicker. They smell different. Like, to me,
well, when you smoke 40 million of them a day, you're just not. You'd rather pay a third for them, right? Like you're killing yourself anyway. Kill yourself cheaper so you can afford beer. That's how he thinks.
The fiberglass and the arsenic make it go down smoother. So
he decides a couple of months back. He decides a couple of months back that he's gonna try to wean himself off the smokes. And he's gonna get vaping. So he goes, he gets all the gear, figures it all out, starts ordering cartridges. He gets on.
He's
the
got
vape.
2 problems.
I go over to his house, and he puts the vape down and lights a smoke. And I'm like, I thought you were. And he goes, no. He said all I did was just give myself a second habit.
It's like Dean's buddy with the alcoholic blow addict friend.
Yeah, he comes to me and he's like, she drinks too much. And so what should I do? I'm like, take her to AA. Like 2 weeks later, he comes to me. I'm like, what'd you do? He goes, I tried to get her on Coke instead. And now she's got 2 major fucking issues. I'm like, shocker. Shocker, dude.
So now
she drinks way more.
He's like one of those kids that had the science kit when he was a kid, right? And I was like, if I pour a little bit of this in, and this one's gonna.
So now Army Chris is spending twice on his habit because it costs like vaping's not cheap.
It's expensive.
No, it's not. Any habit like that is purely stupid is not a cheap habit, especially when it can kill you. And everybody's like, I know, but I have to do it anyway. Like and the only reason why I do it is literally because I have to do something bad to myself daily. I have to. I don't know what it is.
You guys don't have any willpower.
No, that's true. How's that smoke? Pretty good, eh?
There was a time when we were on this pod where he didn't smoke, right? And he would, every once in a while, he would like disappear for like 5 minutes and then he'd come back. Now he's just given up. Now
he doesn't care.
I don't like missing any of this show.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Well, I'm glad you don't, because we're talking about problems and it happened last week. Dude, I don't know if you guys, I try to stay away from, I know it's going to sound weird, but interpersonal relationships in media, like when a media person shoots at another media person. Now, I have certain people I love going after on a daily basis, right? Bruce Arthur's one of them. Steve Simmons is a lot of fun to cut off at the knees from time to time. There are several other bad actors who I love to feed shit to. It's just one of my things, right? And there are also great people in the industry, but something happened on the weekend.
You've always done this. This is not a new thing.
It's in me. I can't help.
This isn't long time. No. This is long-standing Dean Blundell issue where
while he was still with the mainstream media, Lachlan, by the way, this isn't new. Like, this is Dean forever.
No,
So
I
it's not
know,
like this is
trust
just
me.
something that's
I
developed.
used
He's
to
always
listen to
had
the
that.
show. He was always shitting on people in Ontario. I had no idea who they were.
But then you looked him up and you're like, he's probably right.
Yeah. Oh, that person is an
They
asshole.
do suck.
Well,
Yeah.
you did a
that's it.
lot of damage to the local media scene. When
Yeah,
you were-
and I think it's actually like I think now I'm actually doing even more damage,
I think so,
I
too.
take great pride in it. So something happened a couple of days ago. Jenn Valintyne, who is a legendary news reporter in the city news.
know the
Really, she
name.
was like, yeah. Jen's got a great reputation in the industry. Jenn
Huge.
Valintyne. This is I'll play a little bit of her video here. I wasn't going to play the
TV,
video.
right? She's TV.
She was TV for a long period of time and then kind of phased out of television, or as she will address in this video, was phased out of doing her TV gig and took a gig doing mornings and has now filed a human rights complaint because of the experience she's had specifically with her radio gig. Let me play this for you because this has caused not just shockwaves
Bit of an
in the
uproar.
traditional media
Oh, this is
industry,
bad.
but a lot of people got fired today. Here's the video. Watch this.
What would you do if a coworker screamed at you, belittled you, called you names, shut you out, brought you to tears, and then laughed when he told you to cry all you want, that he didn't feel one bit sorry for you, and let you know with utter conviction that if you went to HR, they would choose him? All this while 3 other men watched uncomfortably, yet supported him because they knew what would happen to them if they went against him. You see, they had witnessed the same scenario many times before, but no one found it necessary to warn you about it before you accepted the job. Would you take a dream job working as a radio host if you knew you would be working with a co-host with accusations of prior abusive behavior towards women, and that you would also be exposed to 2, sometimes 3 men vaping in an enclosed room for 4 hours a day with no ventilation? Would you complain about it? Would you complain about it if you knew that women before you were moved from that room, eliminated because they spoke up? Would you complain knowing they would choose to support the man no matter what issues were brought forward, and it would put your job in jeopardy? Because history had proved that. What would you do? My name is Jenn Valintyne, and I have spent most of my life in the television broadcasting field. I went to my boss and pleaded for help. I went to the VP, to another VP, and to the CEO of the company. The CEO's response? Is that still happening? We gave him anger management classes and we thought that would work. You know, Jennifer, I have to depend on my people to handle these things because I'm far too busy. I asked for a supervisor to sit in the room, or even another woman to be there so I would no longer be the only woman in the room. I told them I was afraid and that I had never been afraid like this in my life. I was told those things weren't possible, that he would respect me more if I handled it myself. I started to throw up most mornings before I went into the room, never knowing what to expect or what mood he would be in. Sometimes during songs, I would cry in the washroom. I would walk into the studio mere minutes before we started to avoid breathing in the smoky air even one more second than I had to. No one helped. I was shocked to find out that other employees had bets on how long I would last in that room. After spending 2,000 hours in that small, smoky, angst-filled room, I was told I would be removed and placed in another job, moving me from radio back to television. I didn't want to give up the job I had been hired to do. I wanted protection. I said I didn't want to move. I dreaded that I was being moved to be fired. The VP told me there would be a problem if I did not move. The real problem was the one they had been sweeping under the rug, the one they had been avoiding for years. I couldn't help but question myself. Why did I complain? Why? And what would be in store for me? I came to know my new job would involve a salary cut, bonuses taken away, and less vacation time. Aside from that, it was in a completely different department and in a television news role position, where they obviously had to think of a way to unexpectedly fit me into another hosting role. The fact that I had already been told by the man who headed this department in a job inquiry a few years prior that I was not a good fit there because I was not serious news made me question this decision. He said reporting from Disney wasn't real news and that my previous role on a morning show was fluff. So what had changed? Had he changed his opinion of me? I asked again if they were moving me to fire me. I knew, but I had no choice. I was taken off the radio without a new contract, and I moved.
So there you go. There's 4 minutes. It was a 12-minute video. There's Jenn Valintyne, who lodged a human rights complaint. Is that what it was, Linz?
Yeah, with the Human Rights Commission. Yeah. Sorry about that. It was, like you say, it was a 12-minute video, but I had a hard time cutting it because every point that she made was important. It was like, how do I pick the most important?
Yeah.
We only have so much time in the show, but it's on our Facebook. So if anybody wants to watch the full thing, go to Jen's Facebook and watch it there.
Yeah. Now, I don't know Jenn very well. I have had very servicey exchanges with her. Had one the other day. So good for you. Way to go. She was great.
She was.
But this is like a bigger deal than Jenn. And the reason why it's a bigger deal than Jenn is because since Jenn has come out, several people who've worked with said individual or in that radio division of that company, Chorus is the name of the company, have said they've had similar experiences. And now because we've got a human rights complaint, legals involved from Chorus, you've got multiple accounts from different women, not just women, men too, who were alleged mistreated by this man. And multiple people have said...
We're not going to say his name.
Witnesses too.
And witnesses. Multiple people have said that management in that company was bereft of responsibility. Now, I've worked for that company. They're not wrong. That company is bereft of responsibility. Most media companies that own traditional services are bereft of responsibility when it comes to standing up for marginalized people, women, or doing the right thing. And it's because of one thing: money. The person she's speaking about I know it's weird, right? The person she's speaking about had a heritage morning show in this city for 20 years. He's a 40-year legendary radio person. Worked with all kinds of different people. I worked with him for several years in the same building. Yeah, I know you want me to say his name. It's not up to me. Jenn didn't say it, so I'm not saying it. I've had great experiences with this individual. I've had terrible experiences with this individual. My experiences with him are very different because I think he looked at me equally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As wonderful of a person as he could be, in my experience and my experience only, he could be equally as nasty. But he was good to me, this person that she speaks of. Mind you, I never had a chance to work with him.
Throw a letter out. Like, what does his name start with?
I just put a comment up. People can figure it out.
Yeah, everybody can figure it out. So fast forward to today.
Does anybody get it?
I got hammered with like requests from different news outlets saying, can you talk about this individual? Do you have anything to say? One guy I told from a major news outlet, I'm like, you're not really news, dude. So no, fuck off.
Yeah.
And I've said the same to everybody, is that this is not my fight because I know some of the principles here. It's still not my fight. My fight is my own. And I got my shit out of the way early on, right? Like, the day I got fired, and I've been accountable for it and still hold that up to be the most important experience of my life, where I was corrected because the way I acted and how I carried on was wrong. Now, did I ever mistreat women I worked? No. Did I ever hurt people I worked with? Only if they deserved it. But I was an asshole at times as well. However, I don't know that you're going to hear a bunch of stories about me over the next few days because I was an asshole on the air. That was where it was safest to do it. You can call me a coward. but I just never had it in me to make someone feel like absolute shit about themselves as human beings or take advantage of my privilege. Having said that, I wrapped myself in that privilege for a long period of time. And if you've been in this industry for any period of time, at any point in that game that you play of reputational triage, the culture is disastrous in traditional media. And the culture in mainstream media in this city, the city of Toronto, Ontario, the culture in that building has always been a fearful culture. Because, and I'll show you why. This is the board of directors of Chorus Entertainment, or actually people that run it. I want you to have a look at the diversity on the board. And I want to point out who the CEO is. His name is Doug Murphy. Okay? Now, I know Doug. I've partied with Doug. Doug is not a nice person outside of that building. Doug has absolutely enabled all of the things that have happened in that building, as has every single human being on their management portfolio and in their management group. Because I can tell you, I know the principals again that are currently under suspicion of abusing Jenn Valintyne and several other women who have since come forward. And this has been going on for a long fucking time. Way too long. Way too long. But it is not my fight. So I will say this, is that we're all trainees in this life. No one has all the answers. Yeah. And I'll also say this, that a lot of the people that have come forward to dunk on this individual who has since been fired as of this morning, that show does not exist.
Is that
yeah, it's official.
Confirmed?
Official.
Yes.
That his show does not exist. A lot of fucking losers are coming out to dunk on him right now. Like this asshole Toronto Mike. He is the biggest piece of shit on this planet. He is a radio jock sniffing piece of shit who's using like legitimate terror of individuals on all sides of this to up his profile. Stay away from him. He's human fucking garbage. There are also other people that have come forward with their experiences with this individual, okay, who have their own fucking back history. Okay? There are lots of you out there. So I don't want to use this to dunk. I'll just say his name on John Derringer. I'm not dunking on my old company because I don't give two fucks. I've moved on. I'm happy. I'm good. It's not about me. The problem here is what was allowed in the name of money, because John was a very effective communicator and the biggest jock in the city for a very long period of time. Mm-hmm. He was kept there for a reason. Okay? A lot of people that are coming out of the woodwork saying, I can't believe it's taken this long. I can't believe it. What about you? What about you? Let's go through your fucking history. Okay? Let's look at how you've lived your life. Have you treated someone like shit? Have you done your own inventory? Have you sat there and taken fucking stock of how you've treated everybody in your life in a work or personal setting? Because the very first person that says, yes, I have, and I've never been mean to anybody or treated anybody like shit, that person has the right to form this circular firing squad around John Derringer and shoot him and everybody involved. Totally. But there isn't one person out there like that. Not one. Even some of the people who have come forward to say, I can't wait to tell my story about how this guy made me feel. I know for a fact, and I've got a book of it because I've been taking notes the last few days. I know for a fact some of these people treated others they worked with in the radio industry like absolute dog shit as well. Yeah. So don't fucking white knight this, okay?
Projection.
If you're on either side of this and you've never done anything wrong, go ahead. But not one of you has. Not one of you. John and the people that John has worked with for a long period of time have done a ton of good as well. And I'm not sticking up for John. The amount of money that these people have raised for charity for abused women, which is fucking weird when you think about it in those terms, is a good thing. And it's been 20 years, right? Doing it for 20 years. Who he was privately is probably who he is, and John is going to have to deal with that. Has to. Who he is publicly is what everybody that does this job wants you to think that they are. That is part of who he is. It is not all of who he is. And every single person, and by the way, I don't discount any of Jenn's experiences. None of them. Okay?
No,
None of
not at
them.
all.
But I can tell you that she probably wasn't perfect. That doesn't mean that she deserved the response that she got at all.
Not at all.
But we never hear about other things that went into displeasure in the workplace when someone comes forward and they go, well, this happened to me. Well, yeah, I get it. It's terrible. Let's deal with that on the merits of the basis of what happened. Let's talk about everything and let's open it up. The real problem isn't just dunking on people. The real problem is how this industry is still being managed.
Yeah.
It is still being managed in the best interest of the bonuses of every single fucking person on this management squad of Chorus. Every one of them has a bonus related to revenue and headcount. Every one of them. All of them.
I bet you they all golf.
In a time of legitimate upheaval, okay, that's what you saw here. You see three things that really mattered when it came to firing John Derringer and the entire morning show. By the way, Ryan Parker on that show, one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. John Garbett, one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. Scared to fucking death. All of them. Scared to fucking death of speaking up because he has a family to protect. There's a lot of that in here too. So don't write everyone off. Don't. Deal with the individual people. You can have your feelings, but I need everybody to direct those feelings at mainstream media management, specifically radio management in this case, that didn't just permit this, they promoted it by permitting it.
Yep.
So don't think for a second that this is all about what she said happened being 100% right because we believe her. It is right now, right? A human rights complaint's a big fucking deal. Huge. This is about the toxic nature of this industry. And kids, it is not just Chorus. I had several conversations over the past few days about people in Bell, same thing. Let's talk about the guy who used to head up TSN. His name's Mark Milliere. Fired for being wasted and being untowards to certain female staff members. We didn't hear a word about that. You know why? Not in Bell's best interest. Let's talk about Rogers and some of the stuff that people like Julie Adam have swept under the rug in the best interest of her bonus and her employment.
Let's talk about
Let's talk. Let's talk about every company that has willingly chosen money over the human being and dealing with that human being in the best interest of that human being. Every single human being that works for one of these companies is a number on a ledger, and that is how they are treated. And I can tell you this, women in that it's getting way worse. Women in that industry have always been treated poorly. I've had program directors, program managers,
radio
I
and
can name
TV.
Names that have said
radio and TV.
Radio and TV. Women are placeholders. Heard that one. No one wants to hear a woman talk on the radio. Some of the best broadcasters that I've ever seen in my life are females. Marianne Iveson, one of the best. Maureen Holloway, one of the best. I would choose to work with a female now before I would choose to work with a male. I really would. But it doesn't take away from what happened here. And what happened here is a travesty. And it's been a travesty for a long period of time. But if it's allowed, it'll continue. And that is what happened. And everybody in their life, and listen, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Doesn't matter if you're in radio, it doesn't matter if you're in television, it doesn't matter what you do. If you spend a long period of time being an asshole and covering up your assholeness, it's still going to find you. And you know what? You got to pay for it. You have to. You got to know what your part in your own fucking life is. You are not a victim. You're the author. Like when people say to me stuff like, I can't believe you got hosed. I'm like, I didn't get hosed. I brought all that stuff on myself by how I acted and what I did. And you know what? There are no victims when you learn. It's just an experience. And in life, we're all fucking trainees. I would say a guy like John Derringer has a lot of life learning to do. And I hope he does it. Because deep down, he deserves to be happy, have peace of mind, like every one of those women who have alleged that he has verbally abused them. But so does Jenn. So do you. So do I. So do those people that are on the board of Chorus who've permitted this for a long period of time. Everybody does. But allow it to take its course, right? Like, fuck. We're going to sit here and use this. And the people that use this kind of suffering to promote themselves, like that Toronto Mike guy, who, by the way, just jock sniffs and chases around radio people like they're fucking gods.
I didn't even know who he was until...
He's garbage. Garbage human. Garbage human.
DM today.
Yeah.
But listen, if you sent a tweet out or if you've publicized a thought about how terrible this person is or that person is, I'd highly encourage you to go through your own fucking history and be accountable for that before you jump on some kind of fucking culture war for clout. Okay? You do not have the fucking reputational authority to be able to say this is what happened and this is what needs to happen now on. Like, dude, you know how many people I saw that saying, resign now, quit media, all this, and I'm like, let it take its course. But no, people can't wait for that. What they do is they're like, I'm going to get more Twitter followers by looking like I'm sticking up for this or I'm that guy. Dude, we have no idea what every person involved in this situation did yet. We just know that culture was farmed there, and that's a problem, right? And the individual is paying the price now. Like, and I'll say this, if you know the man, and I do, this is the worst part. Because reputation is, like, to a radio person, dude, reputation is the most important thing. It's everything. Everything. And now it's out of control. I went through that. Someone stole my reputation. No, nobody does, ever. I thought someone stole my foundation and reputation when I got fired. I did it. By my actions that led up to that. Whether you found why I got fired from the Edge, like fucking legitimate, justified or not, it doesn't matter. There were 13,000 other things in there too, right? And I had to go through each one. No, it is and it isn't, because I'm the author of my fucking life.
I think it's admirable, though, that you've walked away from what has happened to you with a perspective that allows you to live a better life.
That's all I care about. Like, and I'm watching these people come out of the woodwork that have been yelled at by this man ever, or treated poorly by this guy ever. And like, I had a phone call with someone the other day. Should I say something? I'm like, why? Go do whatever you want. But why wouldn't you put that energy into fucking getting on with your life? Right? And maybe because there's hurt and PTSD and there's a bunch of shit that people got to deal with. And I support that. Like, I support Jenn's journey and her effort to make this right for herself. I do. I really do. And I don't discount it because I've seen it.
Yeah.
But I am not the guy to judge any of this. I'm the guy to judge you for judging that, because you're not fucking perfect. Hypocrisy is disgusting to me. Disgusting.
Yeah.
And all these saints on Twitter over the past 48 hours who are now all of a sudden feminists. Now all of a sudden they know who Jenn Valintyne is. All they did was use her story, say what you like about how she did what she did, say what you like about some of the things that she said when she was like, I'm a serious news journalist. Say what you like. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I support Jenn, but I also support the people who got fired today. Not in the way you think. I hope they all get help. I hope, for John's case, I hope John seeks that opportunity, uses this as an opportunity to go, you know what? There's a reason this happened, and I got to stop, and I need to figure out what that is. I had to do the same thing, and I do it every day because it's really important that I get it right, because it's not about me. It's about everyone else that has an experience with me, and it's not about my reputation. It's about me being a better part of their day, and as a result, my day being better. It makes me a better human being. I didn't know these things 10 years ago. I thought it was a smash and grab. It isn't. We are all in this together. And if you are not, you've got some fucking major soul searching to do. So that's my piece on this. I don't want to fucking drag it out, even though I've dragged it out for the past 15 minutes in this weird soliloquy. But my God.
Lachlan short story.
Look at yourself. Just look at yourself, right? Did I go full walk there? Sorry, bud.
It's okay.
No,
it's good. What you said was fantastic.
I just really hope they bring Kim Mitchell back.
Same here. I've been waiting to go for a soda for so long.
I don't think anybody that listens to that station does, But I do too, kind of.
Can I tell a couple of stories?
Yeah.
So I worked in a building where we had a full-on narcissist, and I think it's interesting that that word is used a lot more now, and I think people are much more aware of it based on what the United States went through for 4 years with Donald Trump. And I remember saying to people, when people would go, "Oh, I have some narcissistic tendencies," I'm like, maybe, but you're not a narcissist. You don't know what a real narcissist is. And the reason why I knew what a real narcissist was is because I have one in my family. My uncle is a lunatic, and he is a true narcissist. He does not care about anybody else but himself. We don't need to get into any stories, but he is the only person he cares about. And when you run into a true narcissist, you'll see examples of that. And when you get into radio, you will probably meet one. This industry, media, attracts them. And I was in a building with a guy, and I knew about my uncle, and I knew about narcissism before Trump, and I knew what I was witnessing. And there was all this conversation behind closed doors about this individual that we worked with. And they were, why does he do it? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't he realize that this is? And I kept saying, and I had to say it 100 times to people. He doesn't fucking care what kind of attention it is. It's just attention. It makes no difference in his mind. Now, this individual was also very effective at what he did on the radio and brought in a lot of money to the radio station based on what he did. But he was a nightmare behind the scenes. They eventually got rid of him and even built up some story behind the scenes about what he did and what he was going to do. They even lied that they fired him. And it blew me away, the steps that this company would take to protect this guy that made them a lot of money. And that's all it was. It was amazing to watch. It truly was amazing. I remember one time when he was wandering around with a video of him, he was showing people in the hallways this video. We don't need to get into what the video was, but I remember somebody came up to me and went, "Locke, so-and-so is walking around showing this video." And I went, "What the fuck?" So I went walking up to the boss's office and I closed the door and I said to him, I said, "So-and-so's wandering around with a video of him doing this. And he's showing people, interns, other announcers, other staff, and that's a problem. That can't happen in any workplace on the planet that I am aware of. And I know nothing's going to happen to him." And then I looked the guy right in the eye and I said, "Are you protected? Like, are you protecting yourself? Because someday all of this shit is going to get out, that this shit happened, and that he kept getting away with it." Yeah. And he was very agitated with me because I finally called him out. And I did that a couple of times. I finally called him out and he was like, "Everybody above me knows. They all know. I keep telling them. I don't know what to do." And he was losing it in front of me for a couple of minutes before he composed himself. And then he went and dealt with the guy in the video, right? And that guy was on the air the next day.
Where is that guy now?
Well, it's like they let him go, made up some story about where he was going. He was off to seek new adventures.
He's
in another
unemployed.
part of the business. No, he got another job.
Did he really?
Yes,
Awesome.
in Vancouver. Like,
still on the air?
Just no, he got fired again. But
that's my point. Is he got fired again? Like, it comes from. This is what people don't understand. There's a tax you pay when you're an asshole. There's a tax you pay when you do anything. When you fucking tie your shoes, there's a tax. When you make dinner, there's a tax. When you fucking are an asshole, there's a tax. You can avoid it if you're surrounded by the wrong people, right? But you always have to pay the tax. What I don't understand is how someone like me was able to live with that tax in the back of their head for so long, right? Because now I sleep 9 hours a night. I sleep 9 hours a night.
Stupid for 15 years.
Yeah, that's true. I did that too. But I sleep
you did.
like a fucking baby now. And you're right. I'll tell you something. Part of my then what I considered to be alcoholism, I didn't have any tools. I had no idea how to be a fucking human being. I had no idea what was important. I had no idea. I thought it was about me. It ain't. It never will be. This is supposed to be about how you can contribute to this fucking machine of life in the best way possible, right? It is. And that industry, radio, in this country, and I've got a lot of licks in that fucking industry, isn't a good industry. It's a terrible industry. It's a terrible industry that absolutely rewards terrible behavior if that person is really good at their job. And I got news for you. The most creative, biggest weirdos on the planet come from radio. They do. And those people are not sent, like the stories of people whose lives have imploded after they've left that industry are legendary. Legendary. Because they were never accountable. Ever. They were never accountable to being part of the process of being a decent individual. They were never accountable when they did something wrong. And dude, it happened to me several times where I would go out, nothing like this, but the protectionism in that industry, if you're really good, is pretty fucking incredible. We're seeing it, right? We're seeing it.
Yeah, it's narcissists.
It was only a
protecting narcissists. That's all.
It was only a select group of people. Everybody else was left to fend for themselves. It's a difficult business to get into, and very few people reach a point of this level of this individual that is now unemployed where he can get away with anything. And I think what ends up happening is I think what a lot of companies struggle with, and I'm not going to go out of my way to try to defend companies for protecting these assholes, but what ends up happening a lot of times is I think there is that conversation. Like, why is he doing this? What's happening? What can, you know what I mean? Like, what is it that this guy's got in his head? And the thing is, no one completely understands that because most human beings actually do care about what other people think, and they actually do care about other people's feelings. So they find it very hard to comprehend a guy who is a true narcissist, right? And then they struggle with what to do with them and how to manage them. Now, I'm not suggesting the guy that we were referring to at the beginning of this conversation is a true narcissist, but I know there's elements of his personality that would definitely fall into that category based on what I've heard about him. I've met the guy once outside of having a smoke with him outside of an award show 100 years ago. So I don't know the guy at all. I had a 2-minute conversation with him, but I knew all these stories just being in the business. Like, that's what I was saying to Dean.
Yeah, but dude, some of the
we were driving in, I'm like, didn't anybody know that?
You and Edmonton had heard the stories, but dude, I've heard stories about me that are so fucking weird over the past 10 years where it's like, yeah, I didn't have a gay relationship with an automotive dealer. I didn't,
I'll stop tweeting that then.
I wasn't present when a friend of mine hung himself. I wasn't there. I
haven't heard that one.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah, when Wade Belak died, they were like, I heard you were. There was a fucking huge rumor. I'm like, where is this? Where do these rumors start? So you got to take those into account when it comes to this situation as well, right? Is that legendary stories and myths, or legendary stories and myths for a reason? I can guarantee it's somewhere in the middle of badness, right? Like the really bad to the didn't do anything, and it's probably pretty bad. But.
That's not defending them. That's just
that's just realistic perspective. Fucking facts when you're problem solving in situations like this, where you're like, it was probably bad, but like the stories that you hear are not, and I can't speak to them because I don't talk to this individual on a regular basis anymore. Once in a while, quick text, how you doing? Good. Yeah, great. Good. Awesome. Good. But I'm like that with all kinds of guys, like Bob and Cat, lots of guys in the industry. Because it's I like being a nice person. This doesn't change how I will treat this individual if said individual tries to get in touch with me or asks me for any kind of help or, direction of who to talk to. But my God, we're all, whether you're this person, whether you're Jen, whether you're you, whether you're Ryan, we're all trying to get better at life every day. It's when it's put off for a long period of time that problems like this happen. And it was allowed to be put off by people who wanted money from this individual, who knew that this individual drove ratings, who knew how important his celebrity status and his culture was in this city, who was tied into several charities, who he's raised millions of dollars for. Like, there's a lot going on here. But I tell you, and I can tell you from working this company, the real linchpin for why they pumped that show today, legal is involved.
Yeah.
Reputation's involved of the company, not him. They don't care about him.
This is going to cost
he's still
millions of dollars.
Oh, and the fallout for that company is going to be disastrous for Q107. When I left The Edge, in 3 months, they lost over half of their revenue. Just what happens. John's a big
what
bill.
That revenue was. And,
it was 21 million. Now they do 6 or 5 or something. Sorry. But
oops,
you had a couple of $30 million years there when you were there.
Bad. Yeah, but they ride that horse to the money. Now they had to get rid of the horse. There's no money. John comes with executive relationships. John comes with money. John comes with all kinds of things. They got to kiss that goodbye. They got to kiss goodbye the charity. They have to not only start over again, they're going to be dealing with the loss. The financial fallout from this will be crippling for that radio station. And there are good people that still work there. Really good people. Joanne Wilder, lovely person. Fred, Fearless Fred, one of my dear friends, lovely individual. Haven't even chatted with him about this because it's not his. Guy's got to keep his head down. And there's a bunch of other people that work there. I don't know them, but they're all counting on that place for a living now.
There's a ripple effect that's definitely going to affect them, every single person. And we've seen how they all operate. When stress shows up, they don't give a shit. Everybody just gets the chop. Fuck you. We got to cut. We got to cut salary. We got to cut salary. They don't care who you are.
Though. This is a little different, though, Ryan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But from what you've said, and I think it's really important to keep in mind. And we're talking about media. We're talking about radio stations. We're talking about television. This happens everywhere. This is in every single corporation across the globe, and this is a problem. Jen identified it as a problem. Yeah, we can talk about it being in media, and it is a rampant issue here, but it's a rampant issue everywhere that there is some sort of a succession where you saw that white balancing fucking photo card of a CEO fucking executive board there. It happens everywhere.
You like that?
Like
how many people of color are on the board? The management group at Chorus, 0.
Yeah, and they got one girl, one lady. Yeah. Good for you, Cheryl. But you know what I mean. So like, I think what she did is important.
Their employee handbook and go to the diversity section.
She made a very good point in that video of hers about how women just feel as though the minute they speak up, they're in jeopardy. And sure enough, it happened to her. It happened to her at Breakfast Television. It happened to her at Q107. And it happened to her at the end of her career. So, and it was all just because she said, hey, listen, can I get some help? Can somebody help me with this problem? And she was washed out.
Can I weigh in a little bit?
Let Ryan finish. Yeah.
I realize you're not in support of anybody until, because you say this isn't our fight. We're just telling the story as we see it, and everybody's got their thing. So I just don't want it to get lost in the wash here and lost in the sauce that we're only talking about media, because this happens to women everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everywhere.
It also happens to men. I'll tell a quick story about a friend of mine a very close friend of mine who was in the military, and he got out of the military. He'd tell me stories about the military, and I'm like, Jesus, dude, that's crazy. He's like, yeah, got to get out. I'm going to go back to school. Goes back to school, gets his MBA. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if you're cut out for office Like, you shouldn't be working. Oh, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be. Within a month, punched out his boss. He was just, it's a culture thing. He's wired a certain way. Like, they dealt with things differently. And again, this is a culture thing, and it's not unique to media. It isn't. The one thing I will say, and this is not me defending anybody.
Corporate structure is very patriarchal. I think that's what you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. But in the entertainment business, and this is why this conversation is difficult to have if you've been in this business for any length of time. You could see Dean talking about it. And listen, here's what I've done over the years. If I have conflict, and it happens occasionally, I was yelling at the guy at the A&W drive-through window this morning. If I have conflict in my life, I try, and I swear to God, I try to walk away from that conflict, and I try to figure out what my role was in it. Okay. In this industry, to be in media, in radio, in television, you have to be wired a certain way to be successful. And you have to be even differently. You have to be wired even more so to be uber successful in this business. The other thing that I've learned is that certain things work, and people can sniff them out in a second. If your audience doesn't believe you, doesn't believe the mix in the room, you're dead in the water. And successful shows have a good mix in the room. And if you throw 2 people into a situation, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people into a situation, and you haven't got the right mix, and you're trying to force a situation, you're trying to force humor, force entertainment, please don't think that I'm trying to make any excuses for John Derringer or anybody else that's gotten into any trouble in this business. But when you're trying to force a situation, you cause a great deal of stress. And some people can deal with that stress and some people can't. So if you're going to get into this business as a manager, you're going to be managing volatile personalities. And I don't think it gets handled very well. I don't think we give the right skills to the people that are in those situations, that are trying to broadcast, that are trying to entertain people. We don't teach them how to deal with that. And we don't have managers that know how to deal with this shit.
No, and it's gotten worse too over time. The more that the business is contracted, because these people don't have someone they can go to and say, here's what's going on, right? Here's what's happening. I need professional development. I need mental or emotional help. I need to understand how to fucking do this life because I'm really struggling right now. They don't care about that part of the business. Every single broadcaster or traditional media company will say, well, we've got a great employee assistance program. Just call a number. It's not about the fucking number or the program or what's in your benefits package. It's about the person and the individual. And they failed Jenn Valintyne. And I would say they failed John Derringer.
Yeah.
I would say they failed him by allowing him to continue to operate the way that he operated.
They breeded that.
Yeah. And they did exactly.
And the dysfunction,
they did it for external value.
Worse.
Yeah.
It made it worse. And again, that's not me saying that gives anybody an out. It doesn't. And the funny thing is if you were just casually listening to that show, you might have felt there was something wrong. Like you might have listened and gone, they're off today. But I bet you couldn't tell that Jen threw up before she went on the air that morning.
No, and here's the thing, okay? And I'm going to take heat for this part of it, right? And I said this earlier, nobody's perfect, including Miss Valentyne, right? Like, nobody's perfect. What I heard in there was systemic in the industry, whether you think it was motivated by gender, bias or not. You age out of this industry, depending on the format and what is wanted by the program that you work for. And that changes over time. You don't get to decide that. And you also don't get to hang on to your employment just because you felt a certain way. Now, I'm not discounting, and I'm just using that as a broad stroke because you're seeing a lot of different people come out of the woodwork going, that happened to me and I should still be doing this. That happened to me and that stole this from me. Now, there's a very good chance here that some of these people in their employment ran its course, right? There's a very good chance.
she made a very good point about that, though, and that was the fact that like she had the books to show the ratings were up, everything was up. The person that she was complaining to that was telling her she was aging out was older than her, that has kept that same job that he went to school for, and that was the point she was making. I went to school for journalism, she said. He went to school to be whatever manager he was, and you know, they tried to say, "Oh, you're not the reason."
Yeah, but dude, there's a demo thing here. There's a demo thing here that a lot of people don't understand, and demographics actually really fucking matter, right? In that industry,
especially for
you
ads.
hire people that can connect with the demographic. Was she still connecting with that demographic? I don't know, but you can't hire a 50-year-old to work at a CHR station. You just can't, right? And a lot of people will go, "I got fired from this like top 40 radio station, maybe in Edmonton or maybe in Calgary. I got fired because I'm 50. That is wrong." Well, you lose touch with those people, and you can hear it in ratings saying what they are. I mean, there are a million reasons. So it's not like and I get those reasons too, but you have to factor all of it in when you're judging and dunking on social media on anybody that does or says something that they want to get you on side for. This wasn't just a shot across the bow. This was a fuck you from Jenn Valintyne to Q to Chorus and everybody that enabled the abuse she says that she went through. And I have no absolute reason at all to say that any of this stuff that she's saying is wrong, because it's her experience. But I will tell you this, that experience isn't just this, right? There's this that goes into it, this that goes into it, this that goes into it, and this that goes into it. That's the experience. We only heard about this, right? The one finger. We need all five if we're going to be able to make an educated dunk fest on somebody.
And we're horrible. We are horrible as a society right now doing this. We do this every single time, and don't get and it takes away
culture. Yes.
It takes away from the actual importance of like.
And it doesn't fix anything.
But it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't fix anything. And you've got a point about it's a different animal because of the need that it services. Media is different. You don't hear the Saturday night techno and house mix by Harold. You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody named Harold hosting that show.
82-year-old Frank Johnson has just showed up for his fucking show, and he's playing a whole bunch of Beyonce. Yeah. And he doesn't get to keep the job because he was good at it or a good employee for a long period of time.
I get it. Yeah. You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the other thing to keep in mind
still sounds terrible
with this business is that quite often in media, in entertainment, when someone does get hauled out for this, and my guess is, based on my very limited knowledge of John, is that John will never get to tell his story. I doubt highly that it's, and the thing is, do we need it? I'm not saying we need it, but I'm saying it's already done. Like, we're already next stratosphere on this.
I think that's like 10 steps ahead of where we are at this point, right?
But I'm saying, what I'm saying
is, for the lawsuits.
Yeah, it would be like, remember when Bullard went through it? The first question wasn't, well, will Mike get to tell his side of the story? You know, like, and then sure enough, Bullard told his story, and holy fuck, it turns out he was okay. And you know, like that's kind of what I'm saying. So you're right. It's just a matter of if I was Derringer right now, I'd be sitting there going, fuck, when's it going to be my turn? If it's not, you know, if the allegations are unfounded. You might never
get to hear his side.
But you might. You're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, what comes with this when someone gets fired, I have a little experience in this. Let me just kind of take you through it.
I guess you can talk. Dean?
Thank you.
Is there
thank you
some
very much.
Connection you have to this?
A little bit, yes. Yes, a little bit. When you're fired. Hey, listen, nothing more exciting than getting fired in front of a whole country. Nothing. I've lived it.
I can't imagine
it was a blast. Yeah. Still, I maintain the best thing that ever happened to me because I needed it. It sounds fucking crazy, but it showed me that you could be a better person, right? It did. Because, listen, when something you think is unfair happens to you, you get two things. You can rage, or you can go inside and you go, let's take stock of everything, all of it. Not just what happened to me, but every part that I had in what happened to me, and let's see if I can do the math and add up to this big bucket of shit that I put in my own life. And I did.
What was my role? What role did I play in this?
Thank you.
We
Now,
totally glossed over
I
that.
do this all the time. I do this every time I get into a situation.
Yes, sir.
And not only that, I've learned a lot from how to do that from Dean. I swear to God, I'm not just saying that to kiss your ass. I think it was important that I met you when I did.
It's funny how we all have that same story, isn't it? About that guy sitting over there. Just so you know, Dean. Want to blow your head up a bit?
Thank you. I appreciate it. But
I know you don't need it, but just so you know. We're just going to
sometimes
turn
I
you back
do,
into
I
that
say
guy
I
again.
But
No, I'm
your
not
life,
parking your fucking car.
your life
I'm not
will
breaking
bring
fire alarms.
your life will bring you exactly what you put into it, right? And when you think that you are better than other people, which I did, when you think that you're smarter or more gifted than others, which I did, I thought, fuck, I'm the best at this in the world. Then they take it away from you. You realize all of it's a lie. All of it. And the same work that goes into you being that person now needs to go into you being a whole person. Someone that has the tools and the ability to deal with really shitty parts of life. When someone comes after you, to be able to say, let's talk about it. And do you have merit? Did what I do and did that play into why you're angry at me? And can I actually examine that like I'm a fucking alien? Can I look down at myself and say, where did you have a part in all of this?
Yeah.
Because if you ask me, the performative part about what's going on around John Derringer and all this other bullshit with Q107 needs to stop. Just has to stop. But it won't, because fuck, is it fun, right? Like, all of us are standing here going, ooh, this is going to be a lot of fun. And he pissed off a lot of fucking people. Like Humble Howard, who I've got lots of digital respect for. Humble and Fred. They went after him this morning, right? I've got phone calls from people in the industry that want to go after him as well. And somehow, for whatever reason, want my support. They get none of it, because this is not my fight. I've done my stuff, and I do my stuff on a daily basis, and that stuff literally sits in one rink, and that one rink is like, what did you do? What part of yourself contributed to your displeasure or this life that you have in front of you right now? And will you be accountable when you do something wrong? Yeah. Because that accountability offers you the opportunity to learn from it and become a happier person. Because listen, I'll tell you something. John is probably miserable. John has probably been miserable for a long time. Caged animal. Because he doesn't have the tools in life to be able to treat people the way that they should be treated. And that comes from weakness. All cruelty springs from weakness. Seneca said it. So did Marcus Aurelius. So did Epictetus. All three of them, philosophers that are 2,500 years old. All cruelty springs from weakness.
It's true.
Now I know when I was mean to somebody, it came from a really weak place that I had in my life, because I felt like shit about myself, because I was fucking duplicitous as garbage. I was just this guy that was like, I want everybody to think that that's me. And then I'm just going to hide all the pain and the shame and all the bullshit.
You're trying to defend that weakness by projecting outwards so that nobody gets into that. And that's it's basic psychology. You're right.
Mm-hmm. So when everybody's out there trying to hang this on all these honkies, which, by the way, go ahead and do it. It's their fault. When you're out there beating up individuals, taking sides.
It looks like a poster you'd see when you walk into a private golf course.
Or like an ad for a funeral home. Like, when you see the funeral home people that run the funeral home. This is John. John will be your guest services person.
And to a man, none of these people are broadcasters either. Like, none of them. But they're all in charge of broadcast. None of them.
Gosling
Zero.
sells caskets, for sure.
But the real discussion here has to be, what are these individuals doing to make themselves better? Or are they going to prolong their pain by fighting about this and saying that person did that, that person did that? If we all, if Jenn, everybody involved, every single person said, where did I go wrong? What am I accountable for? And can I meet that person where they need to be met? And can I do the work of being a decent individual? If you can't, I got news for you. You're going to be fucked until you die.
Yeah.
And we're all going to die. That's immutable. And the real shame here, is that a lot of people that are on the periphery of this are going to lose their jobs, going to get hurt. A lot of charities are going to get hurt. A lot of people that work at that radio station, there are very good people that work there. Listen, this industry is full of wonderful people still, just not at the management level.
Yeah, you're right.
I wonder if
there's a lot of collateral.
Do you think John will call you?
I don't know. I'll tell you what. He was great to me. When I got divorced, There wasn't a more supportive individual. When I left this gig, super supportive and scared. Stayed away from me and told me why. Can't because you're you.
Yeah.
And maybe he does.
At least he was
I don't know.
Honest about it.
But I'll tell you something. I'm not writing that man off. You can't write people off. You can't. We share a history. He's an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. He went to rehab. I didn't. One day, dude took me to meetings. It's a man with a heart that didn't in the moment know how to deal with certain people or things. And it's caught up with him. And he's paying the price. Right?
Yeah, so if you can help, like if you can do something to help right that, then you'd be a shithead not to. And I get that. And you're right about not writing people off, I think. This is just so... This is so... Yeah, I think we all do. I think Dean's kind of a little bit ahead of us on that front.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just read a lot.
I've scrapped people. I cut them out of my life.
Yeah, and it's easy to do it to a guy like John, right? Because there's a lot of social credit in doing that publicly. I'm watching people look for social credit on the back of that man and that woman who complained, and these two people that have an issue with each other, and their lives have been irreparably damaged now. And I'm watching people use it like, look at me,
springboard,
so fucking woke.
Yeah. What do you call it?
Look at me, I'm standing up for free speech. Comes from both sides.
Virtue signaling superheroes.
Yeah.
You know, putting the signal out there. We glossed over though. If I can bring it back, I want to know what Locke yelled at the guy at A&W for.
Okay, hear me out.
Why are you yelling at drive-thru people?
I come in from St. Albert.
Are you better than them because you're on the radio?
Listen, let me finish my story, you dick. So anyway, I come in from St. Albert and I pass a McDonald's, and for whatever reason, they have those milk crates out, those yellow milk crates out. So when they're taking a dump or something, so like 4:30 in the morning, 4:15 in the morning, like 2 or 3 times a week, somebody's taking a dump at that McDonald's. And so they put the baskets out, and so I got to drive through town. And then I like McDonald's coffee more than I like A&W coffee. So if we've got time in the morning, I'll go to the other McDonald's, which is close to work, and I'll go through there and I'll get it there, right? But if I'm rushed for time, which I was this morning because I had a load of garbage.
You do know there's no backstory that's going to excuse you from how you treated the guy this morning.
People are going to be on my side here. Ryan, let me tell my story.
I told him to just tell him. Let's hear it. I want to hear it.
Dean.
Sorry.
I had a Subaru full of spring cleaning, and I had a dumpster in the back of the building to fill.
Can you believe
And it was going to
that?
take me a while to do that, okay? Don't tell my...
We won't say.
I emptied the garage this weekend. When Jimmy got in, he laughed because the Subaru was full.
Good thing you have a minivan.
I was in a hurry. I had to get all that shit out of that Subaru for the dumpster in the back. So I went into the A&W, which is just right, but I don't do this very often. Now, this is the third time. The last 2 times, I didn't say a thing. The third time was today. I drive up. Hey, good morning. I'll have a large 1 cream, please. Yes, go to the window. When I get up there, he's putting fucking grounds into the thing. And he's making coffee. So to this morning, I said, every time I come here, you're making a pot of coffee. And
it's because you show up at 3:30 in the fucking morning.
It's not 3:30 in the morning. It's like 4:45 by this time.
4:45. No one is up at 4:45 other than a morning guy and an oil rig worker.
Ready.
At 4:45?
Yes. Then why are you open? I got to sit there for 7 minutes while he makes a pot of fucking coffee. So I got mad.
For you.
Today.
For you.
What'd you say?
So
I said, every time I come here, you're making a goddamn pot of coffee. Like, why?
For you.
So here's the contrast. His morning was he woke up, wondered how he was going to pay his rent. So he said, I better go to that job at A&W. And he got in his car or a
City
bus.
Transit.
Yeah, and went to that job. And he didn't fill your Subaru with junk. He didn't leave the house later. He didn't do any of that stuff. But when you two met,
I shouldn't have yelled at the man. And here's what I decided. I said to Jimmy when we were walking up, I shouldn't have yelled at that kid. because he probably was told by somebody that not to make coffee until a certain time, and maybe I'm there before that.
By the time.
Right?
Yeah.
So and again, I'm not going to drive back and apologize. What I'll do is I'll just avoid going to that A&W for the rest of
You know what, as I would too, because you made a fool out of yourself and you can't go back now, dude. I've done that 1,000 times. You know how many places I don't go back to because I acted like an asshole 10 years ago? Like 20 on a daily basis. I'm like, I can't go into that booster juice.
So I am becoming a better person by realizing that I shouldn't go back to that place.
It's self-awareness.
Right?
Big
We're all Lachlan. I was you once. I used to have a perpetual coffee order.
Didn't you lose your mind over a crab dip about a month and a half ago?
I didn't lose my mind at all. No, I just politely sent it back and watched it get served to somebody else 5 minutes later. It was pretty disgusting.
That's awesome.
So
Ashley, did he lose his shit?
Ashley,
she'll tell you. She'll tell you. She'll pop it into the comments. I guarantee it. I did not. But anyway, I was the same as you. Where I used to, and it was that lack of empathy just because I was a young, stupid piece of shit, and I had somebody that used to fuck my coffee up every single morning until one morning I finally I used to always get milk instead of cream, and I just had enough. I saw the cream again, and I just poured it on to the drive-through window, and I put the cup back in, and I said, "Can I get it with milk this time?" As calm as can be, thinking that and I was asked never to come back to that drive-thru, and it was the closest one to my work. I'm like, what the fuck did I just do to myself? Like, I'm stupid. That poor lady, I don't know. So, Mabel, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'm a better person now. I wouldn't do that again.
You dick. Can I tie all this into one thing before I show you why you shouldn't stick your hand in a lion cage?
Oh, God, don't. I can't watch this.
I'm showing you. But I want to say this
morning because I hadn't had breakfast yet.
I want everybody to listen very carefully to me. This is in regards to the Valentyne Derringer thing. Also in regards to Lachlan losing his shit at Dairy Queen.
It was not Dairy Queen.
Whatever.
It was A&W.
You lost your shit at a fast food restaurant because the
orange
fucking coffee wasn't ready on time.
A fresh pot just for you.
All of your life, your peace of mind, in this beautiful life that is 1,000,000,000 long shot, you're here. The right amoeba needed to fuck the right amoeba about 1,000,000 years ago. And then your forefathers had to meet and fuck across the world through generations and ice storms and famines and black plagues. You're fucking here. Congratulations. Now what do you do with it? Great question.
Pissed off at a drive-thru.
You respond well. You respond well. What does that mean? Thanks for asking. Let me explain this to you. Viktor Frankl said it best. There's this gap between something that happens and your response, right in the middle, this little part here, where you get a chance to use your fucking brain and go, will I choose to be hurt here? Or will I choose to ignore this person so that I don't make my life immeasurably worse? Right? When something happens, you have a choice every single fucking time as to how to respond to it. If you are in a bad frame of mind, you will respond poorly almost 100% of the time. If you're in a good frame of mind and you understand that your response to everything will make you who you are daily, you will take it seriously. When it comes to coffee, how you respond to that will become a reflective moment where you go, I'm going to practice patience. Then you get to work and you feel pretty good about yourself instead of going, shouldn't have told the A&W guy he was a dumb cock.
All kidding aside, I was embarrassed. I
know.
Embarrassed about my reaction.
That's because you know about being a better person, right? Like, and I do too. I threatened to choke a guy out the other day who cut me off. I'm like, I am going to choke you out. And then my son's in the car. He's like, you sure you want to do that? Like, the guy's huge. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And I fucking felt terrible the whole way home after I dropped my kid off at work. I'm like, I showed him nothing but how to be an asshole today, right? So, dude, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. But at least you try, right? Where it comes to stuff like what's going on with Derringer, he didn't have to try. He got to respond how he wanted, anytime he wanted, because he was allowed that space to move, right? He was allowed to respond the way that he responded.
Yeah, your choice is yours at the end of the day.
And chose to, right? Chose to overreact. That's how we all do things, dude. If you look at how fucking people are acting today, It is all about the response, and people are choosing to act a certain way. And when you choose to act in the face of humanity against humanity, you lose me every fucking time. Every time. Every time. And that is a great lesson for everybody here today. And it's a great lesson for me because as I'm saying these things, I'm reminding myself that, fuck, there's a better way to live, and that's responding well. That's choosing to respond well instead of choosing to take offense. That's choosing to do the right thing instead of intentionally doing the wrong thing. Yeah. Because the wrong thing will always catch up with you. Whether you're like Lachlan and you've got some self-awareness and you can go, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. I feel like an asshole. Now I can never go back to that A&W again.
I won't either.
And it's so close to my house. But, dude, the fact you're embarrassed is legitimately a fucking incredible sign. Because I bet you 5 years ago, you'd be like, that guy deserved to get yelled at for being a shitty coffee person.
I would have done a week of shows on it.
Crank calling the A&W.
I didn't even mention it this morning. I was so disgusted with myself.
That's why I love you, dude. You're so self-aware. This is a great learning experience for everybody. And it should be, man. Like, fuck, we're here for one thing and one thing only, and that's for...
I wasn't even going to bring it up on the pod.
Happiness, peace, well, because you're embarrassed. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did because it's one of the reasons why I think you're a fucking incredible human being. Ugh. And I mean that. You really are. Flawed people are the best people. It's when flawed people choose to be flawed people and they get something out of it that you get my attention again. You're not that guy. You're not. Anyway, great lessons today. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, you're welcome.
There was a good comment though. I would like to see the segment of Fast Food Chronicles with the Loch Ness Monster from now on. That'd be great. We can watch that.
Having said that, I would like.
This is why I smoke a little bit of weed constantly.
Ashley brings up a good point. Ashley was saying that people that do yoga usually don't yell at coffee baristas, but
well, I'm not your typical yogi, I guess is the best way of putting it. I do struggle with the meditation side of yoga. It is something that I am working on. I am not good at that. I get exercise from it. I'm not sure I have found that lane in yoga where I've benefited from the mental side of it. And
where you can go to a coffee house in the morning and just walk out full namaste after they make the wrong drink.
Yes.
Are we?
I'm not there yet.
Are we in a huge rush to get out of here? Because I have one more question. I don't know where this is going to lead, but it's about your yoga and your like you said you're having problems with meditation. Is it because you meditate because of something about aliens? I heard that the other day.
No.
What do you meditate to? You try to communicate with an alien now?
No. These two assholes I work with on the locker room. You know what? Fuck you. I don't think I should talk about this.
What's your meditation called? What's your style called? EM6
it's not mine. They made it up.
ME2.
I went to a retreat with my wife, and they said it was a CE5 event. It never was. That was made up. Where you go and you pray and you bring and meditate and bring aliens in. I never did that. Grant fucking made that up, and he's still.
You went to an alien meditation retreat?
See, this is why I shouldn't have said anything.
He issues a Grant report every day. That's news. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take what he says over what you say here. You've been called out.
You might have been rooked into some kind of alien meditation at some point.
We had the guy from the local CE5 group on the air, and we've also had a guy from Paris on, and another guy. Look it up. I am fascinated by this. We had another guy in BC that invited me out to CE5, CE-5. It's about meditation.
Summoning UFOs using C5 contact.
Yes, and you sit down as a group. That guy in Paris.
Demi Lovato's into it.
Yes, there's a guy in Paris that is big in the alien community. Actually worked, I think, in some level of Secret Service that now is renowned for his views that you can communicate with alien life forms through meditation. And I never
CE5
done it.
Can I give you the CE5 is an app, actually, and Demi Lovato owns part of the app, and as does Dr. Stephen Greer, who's actually a very well-respected UFOologist, who's on with Spear Talk all the time, our buddy John Spear.
Mm-hmm. He's fascinating to listen to.
Yeah, Stephen Greer is. Anyway, it's an app called CE5, and it is very simple, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. That's what it stands for, CE5. Yeah. And if you meditate a lot, and you contact through this app, apparently you'll get in touch with one of them. Yeah.
But if you
got to be with a
go
bunch
out,
of people.
Yeah, and a lot of people have some pretty fucked up stories. And listen, this one guy that we had on like quite a few times because I got sucked into this. I went down a wormhole, and it was right around the time I went to this yoga retreat. So James, green guy went on some C5 event.
That's exactly what you did. We know it.
You're fucked.
If you go to CE4, you'll actually learn how to connect with coffee baristas better.
Yeah, you did. You totally did this course. You totally fucking did it. Don't lie to us. I can see it in your face. You tried to get in touch with aliens. No wonder your fucking meditative stuff doesn't work. You're trying to get in touch with ET. Stupid idiot. What are you doing?
Stupid idiot.
Dick, I did not do this. I knew it.
Sounds like you did it. Sounds totally like you were trying to get in touch with aliens. You're like, I'm trying to meditate, but the aliens don't come.
Nobody's answering.
Hey, you know who had a...
Now, I got people commenting on my yoga because I'm trying to do yoga every day this year. And I'm up to... This morning was 144 days. But I had this woman who I'm putting pictures up because I want to keep myself honest. But I had this woman post that she saw some lights or something, some reflections in one of the pictures, and she said, you've got a ghost in your house.
Oh, there it is.
And there's another one there too.
It's on your belly.
Yeah. She goes, you've got somebody down in your basement,
Oh, it's the aliens. You finally made contact.
That one there wants to get personal.
Yeah. And the aliens are coming to see you wear this while you watch a hockey game, by the way, which we have tonight, Oilers Flames.
Look at that segue. Holy shit.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock game.
You were a professional broadcaster?
I was once, yeah. Terrible industry full of absolute fucking losers and militant dumb honkies. Seriously. But are you excited for Flames Oilers game 4? Dude, this is Oilers could go up 3-1 tonight. Chokehold.
Yeah. Here's the thing. That Flames team, and I don't need to say this, and the coach is saying it, and everybody in that Oilers organization knows what they're up against. That Flames team finished where they did at the end of the season for a reason. They're a decent team. Edmonton has played out of their heads the last couple of games and dominated, but I don't think this is over yet, and I don't think they should take them lightly. The Flames are a rough team. Here's what I'm hoping, and I keep saying this out loud because I think if I say it out loud, it won't happen. If I keep it to myself, I'm worried it will. I'm worried that they're going to hurt McDavid because I don't think there's any other recourse in slowing that man down.
No, there isn't.
Taking his head off.
Yeah. Be another Gretzky.
Yeah, I think they're going to go after him tonight, and I think it's going to be a really heavy, ugly, chippy game, and I don't know who that benefits at this point. We've seen Edmonton dominate the Flames the last couple of games because they're just so much faster, like all 4 lines, and they're just they've got the Flames on their heels. If the Flames step up the physical side of the game, which they have to.
They can't catch anybody. That's the problem. I was reading this thing the other day, and it's like, we'd love to hit McDavid, but we can't fucking catch him. So there's a problem, right?
I was going to say, don't worry, Lucic is back tonight, right? So everything will be fine.
Lucic.
Yeah, dude, and let's step off the Lucic hate train for a second. He didn't run Mike Smith on purpose. I watched the video like 40 times yesterday. He's such a terrible skater.
Momentum.
His one skate wasn't even momentum. You could see his left skate hits Mike Smith's left skate. He's like, oh, fuck, I'm falling now. That was it. So, I'm just excited. I want to see a great game.
In his shoulders.
Yeah, I know.
He's
top heavy. He's like a weeble wobble.
He's so tippy.
He's a weeble wobble. You hit him and he comes right back.
He can't turn.
He's so fucking tippy. That Lucic. It's crazy. But listen, as bad of a day as so many people have had, we had Alex on in a war. Talked about John and Jenn. Terrible thing that's going on. Terrible things. No one had a worse weekend than this guy.
Don't do it.
I'm doing it.
Oh, fuck.
I'm doing it because you got to watch it.
How long is it?
It's very quick, but it's
28
fucking,
seconds.
if you're eating pasta, don't watch this.
You can watch this at DeanBlundell.com, by the way. Download our newsletter. Just subscribe to it. You can also see it on YouTube, Dean Blundell Show on YouTube. Twitch TV is Dean Blundell TV.
Are we on Twitch?
That's where you want to see this. Or follow us on Twitter at It's Dean Blundell. You can see it as well, because it'll be part of the promo. Guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
This guy was bugging a lion at the Jamaica Zoo, poking it, prodding it with his fingers.
In front of his kids.
In front of his kids, who, by the way, excellent fucking camera work.
Absolutely.
Because the lion got his. And I want you to watch very carefully.
I didn't know
as he literally rips the man's finger out of its socket with all these sweet tendons attached to the end. It's awesome. Watch this. Fuck with the lion. Fuck with the lion, dude. Don't fuck with the lion. He's gonna get you.
God damn it.
Oh my god! Oh my god! We're losing!
Oh, fuck. Oh, God damn it.
Did you see that?
Go get a doctor!
Fucking flossed him. It's like a floss.
Here we go. Oh, look at that. That is the finger coming out of the man's hand, and that long white line you've seen is what we like to refer in the medical industry as a tendon.
Yeah.
Hey, did they put it back on?
No, he lion.
No, I think the lion ate it. They didn't wait for him to shit it out. Oh my God, that was so bad.
You did it, you stupid idiot. You did it. You tried to be he's a clout chasing asshole. He's trying to get, and the lion's like, hey, I got your finger now, you fuck. And he's like, let me get, and he's like, oh,
Oh my God.
Sweating. I am sweating.
I know. Same here. That's disgusting.
not great.
Great. Like I keep, the first thing that came into my mind was a hangnail. You know when you get like a hangnail and it strips, and that one big long strip that. Fuck.
You know what he'll never be able to do again?
Asshole do this.
Yes.
Was it his middle finger?
Yeah,
I thought it was the ring finger.
It's the middle.
It took the middle one.
Oh. No double whammies for him. Single only.
Fuck with Mother Nature. Mother Nature will fuck with you.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Like, you know what? I'm telling you, we're pretty deluded putting ourselves at the top of that food chain. Well, I'll tell you.
You know what's great about your wife, Linz? Take another little piece of my hand now, baby.
She's into this gross shit. She loves watching shit like that. She's a fucking weirdo when it comes to
I know
stuff.
I needed to see it. I knew I didn't need to see it this morning before I had breakfast.
Yeah, you're lucky.
I saw a story and I'm like, not watching that now. And then Dean said, we're putting that video on. I went, okay, I'll watch it. I need to see this.
Yeah, no,
it's a hard watch. I put it on Twitter, and I'm like fully expected them to go, let's take this private and give people a chance to eat their dinner or not vomit when they see this. But to Twitter's credit, ever since Elon Musk pretended to buy it, they're like, we'll put it up.
They took they took Chelsea Hillier down though, but they'll leave the video up, so that's pretty good. I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Saw Chelsea Hillier. I'm telling you, man. Everyone pays a tax for how they act. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Be a better person, pay less tax. Simple stuff. Have a great day, everybody. That is Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. You can listen to him every single weekday morning. Best morning show in the country, at Lachlan Cross on Twitter. You can follow him. No, it is, dude. It is. I listen almost every day, and I'm super grateful for the job that you guys do out in Edmonton because it's nice to have something to listen to out here. That is Ryan Lindley from the Sheeple Shepherd podcast, another good human being. So follow him on Twitter, at Ryan Lindley. I didn't know this, but you joined our network and you had like 250 followers on Twitter or something like that.
Yeah, when I first came here, I was at 250, and I just broke $6,000 this weekend. It's the Dean Blundell effect, I'll tell you.
No, you did the work. You deserve it. You're fucking great. And folks, follow him at Ryan Lindley on Twitter. He's awesome.
We're better because but I bought them all.
Yeah, it's true. I tried to do that, but Pierre had them all sold out. So
that's right.
Mine
Pierre
are
Polyev
all
bought
bots.
everybody.
Yeah, as are the Conservative Party of Ontario's, by the way, all bots. And we'll talk about that tomorrow on the program.
Nice.
We'll be back at 3:00. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you being here. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Love you guys.
Man. Have a good night.
All right,
See you,
talk
pal.
to you soon. See you later, kid. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you being here as well. And thanks, everybody, for being part of the show. Don't forget, you can download everything that we do, the audio versions, Apple, Google, Spotify, etc. Dean Blundell Show. You can also go to YouTube, download our show on YouTube, Dean Blundell Show on YouTube, and Dean Blundell TV on Twitter. Don't forget, you can sign up for a newsletter at deanblundell.com as well. I say my name a lot when we get to the end of the show, and yes, I don't like doing it. However, it has to be done. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you. And our Twitch channel. Thank you. And our audio versions of our podcast. Thank you. Now that that's out of the way, we can thank our sponsors. EasyAutoFinancial.ca. Go there today if you're looking for financing for a car and you don't want to pay for it. These guys are good people, good human beings. Again, all about good human beings that want to help you, and that's what they do. They don't make you pay for financing. They pass along that cost, and they'll set you up with the car that you need. They'll fill out all the forms, too. Everyone hates forms. I fucking can't stand forms. So if you hate forms, want to get free financing for a vehicle and have someone take care of all the details, EasyAutoFinancial.ca. Great. Domination.com. We use them all the time. It's AI for people that produce content, podcasters, streamers, gamers, etc. Go to Domination.com. Try them for free today. One file, 72 pieces, 10 minutes. Yeah. One promo normally takes one human being like 3 hours. If you're good. You're really good too. Terrible 5. 10 minutes, 72 pieces of promo, one file. Super simple. If you podcast, game, stream, you know what I'm talking about. Use them today. Try them for free. DMNTN.com. And Ed's Fine Imports and his Gitch are on me right now. Luxury branded underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front. Guys, you need them. You got to keep your fellas. You got to give them a home. Keeps things moving around down there. And super comfortable underwear, by the way. The best I've ever bought. I'm an underwear guy. Like, I get my underwear and I stick to it. Same with socks. Same with pants. Same with black shirts. However, trust me, you'll love these. Ed's branded underwear, Canadian-made, boxer briefs, pouch in the front. EdsFineImports.com. Gitch3 is your promo code. He'll send you a free pair when you order 3 or more. Trust me, you'll love them, fellas. Ladies, buy them for your significant other or buy them for yourself. Maybe you have a package. I don't care. Just buy them. It'd be great. Thanks, all. Have a great day. Don't forget to be nice to each other. And I meant what I said. You're in charge of your life. You blame other people or you can blame yourself for everything that happens in your life. And if you can't blame yourself, try to make it right. You can do the same too, totally free of charge. See ya.